Let's start today's practice by coming into a comfortable seated position. That could be on your chair, the back up against the back of the chair. Maybe you're on the ground, maybe in a crisscross applesauce, maybe sitting on a block or that pillow. Maybe you send the legs out long, or maybe you bring a bend to the knees, let the feet rest on the floor and rest your elbows on your knees. But wherever you're at, we'll start to create this space just for you. We'll keep our spine lengthened. We'll allow our shoulders to start to relax down our spine. I invite you to close your eyes, or maybe you simply soften your gaze, letting the eyelids grow heavier. We'll take just a few moments to really settle into this space that we're creating for ourselves here today. We'll notice our breathing. We'll start to make it more intentional as we inhale. Maybe lengthen the exhale just a little bit. Noticing any tension in the body. Seeing if you can begin to release it on those exhales. And as we begin to settle into our moment tonight, we'll begin to bring our awareness to the concept of happy endings. These happen all the time in our lives, endings and beginnings. As life is a journey, it's also filled with a spectrum of emotions, from joy to sadness, and many emotions in between. Each feeling we experience is a part of our story. It's contributing to our growth, to our understanding. So as we breathe here, let's take a moment to acknowledge any feelings you might be having right now, or that you've had throughout the day today or the week. And whether they're feelings of happiness or sadness or anything else, allow yourself to be present with those feelings without judgment. As we start to get into our breathing exercise for today, we'll breathe in for a count of 3, 2, 1. We'll pause at the top, holding the air in for 3, 2, 1. And then we'll extend our exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we'll continue this breathing pattern on our own, at our own pace. Breathing in for 3, pausing for 3, and then exhaling for 6. As always, you are welcome to continue to focus on the counting of the breath, or to release that and find a more natural, short inhale, short hold, extended exhale, finding that rhythm in a more natural. Allowing yourself to settle in awareness of your feelings as you breathe. Beautiful job. Continue breathing with that cycle of breath. And in mindfulness, we learn how to start to observe our emotions with not only compassion, but also curiosity. We can notice how happiness and sadness can coexist, each giving depth and meaning to the other. This duality is a natural part of our human experience. So as we move through our practice today, let's try to embrace the full range of our emotions, knowing that each one is a stepping stone towards our own happy endings. And with every breath, we cultivate awareness and acceptance, creating space for peace and balance within. As we take another breath in, we'll release that counted breath, that 3-3-6 breath, finding our natural rhythm once more. And as you exhale, take a moment to offer yourself a little bit of gratitude. You took time out of your busy week to slow things down and connect with yourself here in this space tonight. And then let's begin our practice with this sense of mindfulness and openness. As we begin to wiggle fingers and toes, flutter our eyes open. If we're on the mat, we'll come into a child's pose, taking our knees wide and our toes together. You're always welcome to sit up on something or bring something under your knees. And then start to extend those arms long, letting the forehead maybe reach down towards the floor. Or since we have all these props just hanging around, maybe grab one and put it under your forehead to rest your forehead on a surface. Now, if you're in the chair, it's going to be very similar. We're going to take our knees wide. We're going to start to lean forward. You can keep your hands on your legs. You can hold onto your chair for that extended arm here option. Or you can even start to reach your hands down towards the floor or towards the prop in front of you. And then curl your chin in towards your chest. Allowing nice lengthening down the spine, no matter where you're at. Feel your breath. In the chair, you could even maybe bring a prop under your forehead as well. That could be a nice option, like a bolster or a pillow. And then wherever we're at in our child's pose, start to find some movement through your neck, maybe rocking the forehead on your prop if you're using a prop. We're just letting the head dangle as you rotate left to right, getting a nice little massage through the forehead. Beautiful job. With our next inhale, just come up about 1 or 2 hand prints. And then we're going to walk our hands over to the right leg or to the right side of our mat. And then we're going to hinge back into our child's pose with a little bit of a side bend on the left rib cage. Throughout our practice today, you can always call on that breath of our opening exercise, that 3-3-6 breath. That's a great focus for the mind. And then start to walk the hands back through center, over to the left leg or to the left side of your mat, and then sink it back in. Stretching through the right rib cage. Great job. We'll come back through that slightly lifted halfway point, and then we're going to drop our elbows either to our knees or to the mat. We're then going to bring both elbows over to the right side, either to the right leg or to the right side of our mat. And we can keep our hands together, our elbows together, or you could start to lift your right elbow, coming into a prayer twist from your forward folded banana or forward folded child's position. Great job. Allow both elbows to come back. And then walk them over to the left side of your space. And then maybe lift that left elbow up. Twisting towards the left. Great job. Exhale to release both elbows to the ground. Go ahead and bring your hands back to your legs or to your knee or to the floor. And we're going to take a shoelace pose. We're going to take our left hand, cross it under the body between the right rib cage and the right arm, palm face up, and then take that right arm in front of it. And then as you exhale, start to hinge into that child's pose once more, pulling the fingertips left to right. Now, if you're taking this from your chair pose, one difference is we're going to bring our knees together and then take them, letting our legs help split those arms as we stretch through the old shoulders and the outer arms and the upper back. As you put weight into your body, you might find it opening just a little bit. All right, inhale, come up a little bit, and then take the back arm and put it in the front, and then begin to hinge back down, putting your weight in a little or a lot. As you sink into your shoelace arms, pulling fingertips left to right. Great job. Let's inhale to release. And from here, we'll come into a seated staff, taking our legs out long in front of us. You can keep a bend in the knees or begin to press through the heels, lengthening out through the backs of the legs, pulling those toes back towards our shin, engaging our core to sit up tall through the spine. And if you're seated on a chair, you can always have your feet on the floor or maybe bring it up onto a prop to bring them a little bit more level, but it's not necessary. No matter where you're at, we're going to engage through our core, start to send our arms up and overhead, float them up, and then with an exhale, hinge into your forward fold. Now from the chair, you might just hold on to the chair for a little added support, or you could end no matter where you're at, reach down your legs, reach towards your toes, hold on to the floor, or maybe you're using your strap here, wrapping it around the balls of your feet and reaching towards them. We're keeping our heart pulling towards our toes, no matter where we're at. And then if it feels really good in your body, you're welcome to round chin to chest and really curve through the curvature of your spine. Inhaling, we come back up to our straight spine and we'll start to move our right heel back by our right hip if we're seated on the floor. Again, you're more than welcome to have a block under your hips, creating just a little bit more space here. If you're seated in the chair, we're coming into that half hero. So similar thing, we come over to the right side and we start to walk that right foot back and tuck the toes behind us, giving us some space. Now in the chair, we do want to bring our left leg a little bit more open, and we can keep it mostly bent or we can work it straight depending on what feels better for your body. Now, no matter whether you're on the floor or on a prop in the chair, we're beginning to lengthen our spine up, and with an exhale, we find that hinge over that extended leg. It might be a little bit of a curl over it. We might only be a little bit, or we might go really deep. It's up to you and your body today. Great job. Inhale to round the spine up. And then let's take the right leg long. The left leg tucks back, whether you're seated on the floor or in the chair. Lengthen your spine. And with your exhale, begin to hinge into your forward fold, bringing your torso towards that extended leg. You can hold anywhere on the foot, the ankle, the leg, the floor, a strap. Great job. Last breath here. Inhale to roll it back up to your straight spine. If you're, go ahead and send both legs back out long. All right, if you're on the mat, we're gonna bring ourselves down onto our elbows as we prepare for a fish pose. We'll point our toes away from us. We'll engage our core. We'll start to walk our shoulder blades back under the back and lift our heart, lift our chin, maybe even lift our gaze, keeping it all nice and lengthened. And if you're taking this pose from our chair, very similar. You can keep your knees bent though for a little more stability. Scoot yourself back as far under your chair as you can. Begin to roll your shoulder blades over the back part of your chair as you lift your heart open, lift your gaze, lift your chin. And you can either keep your hands on your lap, or for a little more opening, you can allow them to dangle back behind the chair. Now, no matter where we're at, we want to make sure our neck is feeling supported. And so we have options. If you're on the floor, you could allow your head to dangle back just a little bit so that it starts to touch the top of the floor. But we want to be mindful that we're not allowing any weight to rest in the head if you're taking this option. You're really focusing on lifting the heart, squeezing the shoulder blades. You can also leave your neck long and supported and maybe looking up to where the corner of the room and the ceiling meet on the opposite wall from you. That feels a little more supported. You could always bring your head up against a prop as well for a little more support behind you. But still enjoy that heart opener. All right, last breath in our fish of choice. Our exhale releases us. And then let's go ahead and find our way on up to standing. Coming into a mountain pose. Getting there in your time, in your way. And then from our mountain, let's allow our arms to start to float up and overhead, reach them up really up. And then with our exhale, our right hand either comes to a prop or it comes down by our right hip. We're gonna start to take it into a side bend to the right, but we're gonna actively pull that left hip as far towards the left side of the room as we can. Great job. Inhale back through center. Exhale, take it to the left. Actively pull the right hip as far over towards the right as you can. Beautiful job. Inhale back through center. Exhale, we're going to cactus the arms, pull the heart forward, lift the gaze. Beautiful job. Inhale, circle arms up and overhead. Now we're going to take just a little bit of a balance challenge, so feel free to hold on to something for a little more support. We're going to start to lift one heel and then the other. Moving through the bottoms of the feet. You're also welcome to lift both heels if you'd like. Noticing what that feels like. And then with our next exhale, hinge and swan dive into your forward fold. Hands come to the floor, to your legs or to a prop, and you have a deep bend in your knees. Start to find a little bit of organic movement, maybe moving left to right or swaying the jaw, or even shaking the head in any direction. You can even grab opposite elbows if you'd like. And then start to find just a little bit of stillness, eventually winding down to complete stillness. Releasing your hands to their previous location. We're going to interlace the fingers, and then as we inhale, we're going to bend our knees, sink our hips, root all the way to rise as the arms lift overhead, still fingers interlaced. Flip the palms towards the ceiling. Now, if having your fingers interlaced is too much on the shoulders, you can make a similar movement with the arms wide as well. All right, now once we get up with our arms as high overhead as they feel good, start to take those hands behind the head and maybe even a little back bend, pushing your hips as far forward as feels good. Great job. Exhale to come back to your mountain. Releasing hands by your side. Great job. From here, let's step the right foot back as we come into a lunge position. And for this first lunge, you have options. You can stay up high or you can come down low on the knee. If you come down low on the knee, you're welcome to add cushioning, whether it's rolling your mat or another blanket. But no matter where you're at, both knees are bent. We feel like we're active through our thigh muscles. We're pulling our core in towards our abdomen. Our abdomen in towards our spine. And you can keep your hands on your knee and bring them to a prayer. Or maybe start to lift those arms up high into the air. Finding the crescent lunge of your choice. You're feeling wobbly at all, especially if you're standing with both the knee and feet on the floor, feel free to widen your stance. And then we're going to take this into a twist towards that front knee, and we have options for our twist. One option would be to take the arms wide, taking one arm forward and one arm back. If you really enjoyed that prayer twist we did on the mat, you're more than welcome to bring your hands into a prayer pose, hooking the elbow on the knee, and then also stacking elbows. And you can also have one or both hands on a prop as well. All right, great job. Inhale back through your crescent lunge of choice. And then we're going to find a pyramid or half runner's lunge stretch, depending on whether you're on your knees or not. So if you're standing, we're going to straighten that front leg, maybe hop that back foot in and begin to hinge over that front leg. And hands can be on props on either side of that front leg. If you were on the ground with one of your knees, go ahead and send your hips back. Peel those toes back, lengthening through that front leg. So it's the same stretch, just slightly different entry, depending on whether you were on the knees or standing. Beautiful job. Last breath here. Inhale to roll back through your crescent lunge of choice. And then we'll find our way into a forward fold. Great job. From this forward fold, let's take our hands behind our back. Now you have options of coming into an airplane arms, maybe grabbing and interlacing the fingers, grabbing opposite wrists, opposite elbows, even just grabbing your shirt or a strap behind your back. Draw the knuckles maybe away from the hips if that feels good in your shoulders for a breath. Great job. Bend the knees, swing the arms, rise all the way up to standing. Beautiful job. Exhale, come through your mouth. Let's take that to the left side. Stepping left foot back, we find our crescent lunge of choice. Again, back knee lifted or grounded. Depends on what feels better for you today. Noticing energy levels, taking all that into account. When you're ready, arms lift or stay on a prop. Maybe they're in prayer. You're focusing on your lunge. Doing great. Feel your breath. Something doesn't feel right, ask yourself how you can make it feel better and then choose to do that. All right, our exhale comes to our twist. Again, open arm or prayer twist as you stack wrists and shoulders and elbows. Depending on which variation you chose. Great job. Inhale back through center. Let's take that front leg stretch, pyramid or half runner's lunge. Exhale as you fold over that extended front leg. Inhale to a crescent lunge of your choice. And then step it in to forward fold. Great job. Pause there.
Take your bind, but this time switch up the grip so the funny hand is on top. Inhale, arms lift off hips. Exhale to release. Inhale, tall mountain, reach it all the way up. Exhale, bring it down through your mouth. Beautiful job. Alrighty, for our next little bit of movement, we're gonna find a tabletop pose. So if you're taking your poses from standing, your tabletop may be on a chair or a piece of furniture so that your wrists are in line with your shoulders and your ankles are in line with your hips. You're taking it on your hands and knees, shoulders and wrists are in a straight line, knees and hips are in a straight line. And no matter where you're at, your hips to spine, all the way to the top of your head, is as straight as you can make. We'll start to send our right foot back behind us, pointing the toes away from us as we engage through our core. And then maybe start to send that opposite arm, your left arm, out as we take a spinal balance here. Being mindful not to allow yourself to dump into a hip or a shoulder, but instead use your core to keep you lengthened. Beautiful job. With our next exhale, curl and round your elbow towards your knees, grounding chin to chest. And then take that movement on your own for a few cycles of breath. Inhaling to round, exhaling to extend. Take it at your pace. Great job. After your next exhale, go ahead and release hand and foot or knee to ground. And then we'll take that second side. Left leg extends, point the toe away from you. The right arm extends, point the fingertips away from you. Being mindful. And then as you're ready, start to find that rounding movement. Exhale, extend. Inhale, round. Great job. Our last breath here. Exhale, release to tabletop. Then from our tabletop, we're going to move into a downward dog. So if you're on a prop like the wall or a chair, go ahead and walk your hips back. Allow your hands to extend and your arms to extend as you drip your head between your arms. And if you're on the mat, rise off your knees, lifting hips into the air. And same thing, we're pressing into our hands, we're extending our arms, we're letting our head dangle between our arms. Feel free to walk your dog, taking a few deep breaths here. Maybe a few sighs on the exhales. And then go ahead and walk your feet in one footprint. So you've shortened your downward dog stance just a little bit. And then we're going to take our left hand anywhere along that right leg from hip all the way to heel. And then begin to twist as we look out under our arm. Maybe wave high. All right, exhale, come back through center. And then let's take it to the other side. Twisting under your downward dog. Beautiful job. Exhale to release. We're going to look back towards our feet, bend our knees, and walk into our forward fold. Beautiful job. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root to rise, tall mountain. Beautiful job. Bring it down into your mountain pose. Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and use those 4 placeholders we talked about. So if you're using blocks, you have options as to heights, and also depending on what other props you might be using, you could also change whether you're on a short, a medium, or a tall height. We're going to put these props in about a semicircle. on one side of our mat. We want to make sure there's enough of a space in between each one that we can rest our foot. So take a moment to set up, making sure you feel confident. And it can be more of a straight line, it can be more of a semicircle, depends on how you want it. Now we're gonna pick one side, our right side or left side. I'm gonna leave it up to you. Just know once you do one side, we're gonna do the other one next. So make sure you know which side you're doing. You're always welcome to have a hand on a prop for some more support. Those of you who've been in my class for a little while might be familiar with what we're gonna be doing. You're always welcome to keep your hands on your hips or maybe hands at a prayer. We're gonna point our toe in front of the first placeholder. As we inhale, we lift the foot as high over it as we can, come down in between those, and continue this fashion all the way through. Now I'm pointing my toe and touching, but you could also just set the foot down if that feels more stable for your body. Our goal here is really to contract the thigh muscle, our glute muscle, and our hip muscle as we start to lift that foot. You can go as fast or as slow as you want. Being mindful of the movements until we get to that happy ending where you're finally done with this. You're doing great. All right, last time through on this side. Go ahead and finish up where you started. So if you started at the front, finish at the front. All right, go ahead and take any movement you need. You can always adjust yourself or the props, whichever feels better, quicker, easier, whatever. We'll come to the other side. And just like before, we'll start this side. Inhaling up and over. You may choose that after you go through a couple, that maybe the side needs something a little different for some reason. Feel free to change it up. Each side is different. And we can make adjustments as needed when we listen to our bodies. All right, last time through, I'm sure you're really ready to stop making this movement with those thigh muscles. All right, feel free to make any release type movement you like, and then move those props out of the way. Great job. All right, for this next sequence of warriors into a flow, we're going to end with a half moon pose. So if you like to have a block at the front of your place or another prop, please have that at the front of your space. We'll come into our mountain pose. We're gonna step that right foot back for a warrior two this time, letting the toes come out to the side, and we'll start to bend through that front knee. And as we're ready, we let the arms float up, squeezing the shoulder blades together, pulling the fingertips apart, and bending deeply into that front knee. Take a moment to build your foundation from the ground up. Great job. Let's bring our back hand to our back hip or even slide it down that back leg. That front hand can stay on your prop or maybe start to lift up and overhead as we reverse our warrior. Take your gaze to your back foot. Great job. Pinwheel the arms as we come through to a side angle. Your front hand can rest on your prop, on your knee, maybe an elbow, or even that prop if you'd like. But we'll send that back hand either straight up towards the ceiling or even along the ear, being mindful to keep that bend in the front knee so that back hip doesn't start to pop up too much. Great job. Inhale to reverse your warrior, but this time straighten that front leg. Alrighty, our next exhale, we start to find that balance pose I was talking about, that half moon pose. So make sure your weight is in the front leg. We begin to spiral our front hand towards a prop about a foot in front of our front foot. And then as you're ready, start to lift those back toes a little, or maybe all the way up to about hip height. And once again, stack wrist and shoulders in a straight line. And you can take your gaze to anywhere that feels stable. You find you're looking down at some place that's not moving, that's the most stable. For more of a challenge, maybe look directly in front of you. Or for the most challenge, look up towards that top hand. All right, our last breath here. We're going to release out of this into a wide-legged side stance, letting that back foot come down, the toes point out for 5-pointed star. Great job. Take the heels in line with the toes. And we're going to exhale. We're going to hinge into a forward fold here, letting the hands rest on the floor or prop. And then let's walk the hands over towards the right foot, again on the floor or prop. Exhale through center, take it to the other side. Exhale through center to release. Bend the knees, sink the hips, roll it up, 5-pointed star. Exhale, warrior 2 to the front of your space. And then let's walk it into our mountain pose. Great job. We're going to take that whole sequence on the other side. So stepping left foot back for warrior 2. Send the arms wide. Take your time, set up your foundation, hit all those key points that we always talk about. Thighs pulling in, core engaged, squeezing those shoulder blades together as we pull the fingertips out. Reverse your warrior. Make sure not to give up the bend in that first front knee this first time through. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, reverse your warrior, straight front leg. Exhale, set up for your half moon pose. Prop comes about a foot in front of your front foot. Starting to lift those back legs as you stack wrist and shoulders. Great job. Exhale, 5-pointed star. Let's go ahead and take heels in line with toes. Hinge into your forward fold. Bring the right hand directly under your face. Bend the right knee. Start to let the left hand come out and back. Great job. Exhale, switch sides. Left hand replaces right. Right hand swivels up. Exhale to release. Inhale, bend the knees, sink the hips, roll it up, 5-pointed star. Exhale, warrior 2 towards the front of your space. Walk it into your mountain pose. Beautiful job. Alrighty, from here, we're gonna find our way into a tabletop once more. We're actually gonna come into a puppy pose. So if you like taking your puppy pose from a wall or a chair, you can set up elbows parallel. And using a chair, maybe you bring a blanket to cushion your elbows. And if you're coming down all the way to the mat, you're on tabletop, you're dropping your elbows. No matter where you're at, your hands can be parallel or fingers can be interlaced, creating a more triangle shape. And then like that downward dog, begin to walk your hips back, letting your forehead hang in between your arms. It could rest on the floor, the chair, the wall, or any other prop if you'd like. We're getting a little deeper into those shoulders and underarms here. Feel your breath. Beautiful job. Last breath here. Exhale to release. Alrighty. From here, we're going to go ahead and grab that pillow or bolster that I spoke about at the beginning of class. If you're taking this from the chair, you're going to bring it to the back of the chair. And you're going to sit so one hip is facing that prop in the side of your chair. If you're taking this from the floor, you bring it next to one of your hips. You can either stack or stagger the knees. It depends on what feels better for your body. No matter where we're at, we're going to lengthen our spine, really create length as we pull the top of our head towards the ceiling. And then turn towards your pillow, placing a hand on your chair or the floor on either side. And since we have all these props here, you're also welcome, maybe bring it at more of an angle if that's what feels better for your body. Maybe you're feeling a little congested or something today, and laying flat won't feel great, but having a little angle will. So make any adjustments here. As we come into this restorative twist, we begin to let the side of our head rest against the pillow. As this is a restorative pose, we do hold it a little bit longer, allowing our body to start to integrate all that movement we did in the more vigorous portion of our practice. Maybe we come back into that counted breath. 3. Hold for 3. Exhale for 6. Maybe we allow our eyes to close. Allow yourself to savor just this quiet moment as part of your day. Bring your hands back under your shoulders, push yourself away from your prop, and let's set up for the second side. Flipping over to the other hip, changing our props. We inhale to straighten our spine. As we exhale, we twist at the hips, placing a hand on either side of the prop, and then beginning to hinge forward. We rest our ear against the prop. We find ourselves gently breathing. Noticing the twist through the torso. Something isn't feeling right, knowing that you can adjust it at any time so that you can start to feel a little better. Beautiful job. Go ahead and slide the hands back under your shoulders, press yourself away from your pillow, and then feel free to move it out of the way for the moment. We're going to revisit our shoelace pose of earlier, and we have options. You're in the chair, coming seated with your knees together is your best option, or maybe coming against a wall standing. If you're on the mat, you can continue to take it from that child's pose like we did at the beginning of class, or maybe try taking it from your belly. But either way, we're going to slide the left arm behind the right arm. We're going to start to pull the fingertips in opposite directions as we allow the weight of our body to sink into the stretch. If you're on your belly on the floor, it might feel really nice to bring a block under the forehead. as you allow yourself to rest into the shoelace pose. Take just a couple more breaths here. With each exhale, see if you can sink, soften, draw the fingertips away from each other. Our next inhale releases it just a little bit, enough that we can take that back arm, pull it in front, and then sink back in. Noticing the difference in the body from when we were here at the beginning of class. Does it feel like any opening in the shoulders has happened? Any releases? Okay, our last breath here. Inhale. Release that. We're on the mat. We're gonna roll over onto our backs. And let's come into a constructive rest. The soles of the feet on the floor and the spine straight. If you're seated in the chair, we'll come into our reclined position with our hips forward and our shoulders back. And feel free to put that pillow back behind you if you'd like here as well. And if you're on the floor, you're more than welcome to do the beach chair if you'd like a little bit of an angle instead of being on your back. But then bring your right knee in towards your chest and take just a few ankle rolls with your right ankle. And then reverse them. Place that foot down, grab the opposite leg, take a few ankle rolls. And then reverse them. You can take any last movement your body is asking for in this moment, whether it's maybe a happy baby or a half happy baby. Maybe it's some rocking and rolling or shoulder stand. But as you take this last bit of movement, find your way into your final resting pose. Whether that's a corpse pose or a constructive rest. You could stay in your chair or move to someplace a little more comfortable. You could add pillows, blankets, blocks, sweaters, or socks, depending on your environment, how you're feeling in this moment. But make any movements and any adjustments as you start to settle in so that you can start to relax on command. Maybe you close your eyes, or maybe you simply soften your gaze. But begin to take a deep breath in, filling your lungs completely. Exhale slowly as you release any tension, allowing your body to start to relax and your mind to start to settle. Now take another deep breath in, filling your lungs completely, holding for a moment at the top, and then slowly exhaling, continuing to release tension and stress on your exhales. And repeat this breath a few times. Inhale, pause, exhale. Sinking a little deeper with each breath into this moment, into relaxation. Start to bring your awareness to this present moment, feeling the ground beneath you supporting your body. Maybe noticing the gentle rise and fall of your torso with your breath.
Allow yourself to be here fully present without distractions. As we come to the end of our practice, let's once again take a moment to reflect on the concept of happy endings. Life is a journey filled with a myriad of emotions, and each one contributes to our growth and our understanding. Now, as we bring our attention to our heart center, we'll notice any emotions that are there presently. Without judgment, simply observe them, acknowledging both any pleasant and unpleasant feelings. Understanding that it's natural to experience a range of emotions. And see if you can allow yourself to be fully aware of them. Now, as we explore the duality of happiness and sadness, we can imagine these emotions as two sides of the same coin, each giving depth and meaning to the other. Without sadness, we wouldn't fully appreciate the moments of joy. And without happiness, we wouldn't understand the lessons that come from our challenges. In reflecting on the duality of sadness and happiness, we can imagine these emotions because they cannot exist without the other. Just as night gives way to day, winter turns into spring, sadness and happiness are part of the same cycle. Embracing this duality, knowing that each experience, whether joyful or sorrowful, is a necessary part of our journey. With this knowledge, we consider the concept of happy endings. Every ending is also a new beginning. We begin to visualize a door in front of us. This door represents a transition, a passage from one chapter of your life to the next. Let's take this moment to reflect on a recent ending in your life. It could be something as simple as the end of this yoga class, the end of your summer vacation, the end of a project, or even simply the end of a day. But as you visualize this door in front of you, it represents new opportunities and the potential for future happy endings. As you approach the door, can you allow yourself to feel a sense of anticipation and excitement? When you're ready, imagine opening the door and stepping through. Trusting that every ending, no matter how bittersweet, holds the promise of a fresh start as we feel a sense of maybe renewal or possibility. And we take this moment to acknowledge any feelings that might be stirring right now, whether they are feelings of happiness, sadness, or anywhere in between. Allowing ourselves to be present with them without judgment. Embracing the full spectrum of our emotions. Knowing that each one brings us as a part of our unique journey.
And as we stand and rest in this peaceful place, take a moment to reflect on the happy endings that you envision for yourself. These could be goals that you hope to achieve, relationships you're nurturing, or simple moments of contentment and joy throughout your day. Allow yourself to fully immerse in these positive visions, feeling warmth and maybe a little happiness that they might bring. And then let's take a moment to feel gratitude for your practice today, for the opportunity to connect with yourself, and for the ability to be present in this moment. Thank yourself for showing up and for allowing yourself to be open to new experiences. And then slowly bring your awareness back to your breath, taking deep breaths in and out. Maybe allowing a sense of calm, contentment to wash over you. With each exhale, releasing any lingering tension or worries. Knowing that you have the power to create your own happy endings through mindfulness and awareness of your feelings. Knowing that you can carry the sense of mindfulness and awareness and even openness with you as you move forward into your day and into your week. Knowing that you have the strength to embrace both endings and the beginnings that come your way. So as we conclude this meditation, we'll take the deepest breath of our day so far, allowing ourselves to notice any feelings of groundedness or centeredness. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes, bringing your awareness back into your space. And then in your own time and in your own way, finding your way into an upright position facing me. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a great night.